Good morning, friends. Welcome to Go Long, a show that focuses on local sports and faith, includes thought-provoking interviews with area coaches, players, and sports figures, unashamed Bible discussion, and the popular and entertaining WOYK scoreboard. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B.
Good morning.
Oh, hot diggity dog, Becky B. Nice to have you with us. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for being with us this morning, because we've got a dandy with us this morning. Central York head football coach Jerry Yanchik. You know, the Panthers were 10-0 in regular season play last season, a Final Four District 3 6A Big Boy Pants playoffs before they fell to eventual District 3 champions Harrisburg out of the Mid-Penn League. Wow. Hey, they scrimmaged CD East last night. It'll be nice to talk to Coach Yanchik to see how those Panthers are doing. My guess is they're doing pretty daggone well.
They just seem to reload and crank out championships and football up there.
I don't even know they got to reload. But yes, hey, we also have with us the Dallastown Wildcats head girls volleyball coach Jackie Stevens. The Wild Things, the defending York Adams League girls volleyball champs, they are loaded and ready to kick off their season as well. Hey, wow, that's good stuff, right, Becky B?
Absolutely.
My friends, as Paul addressed believers in Rome and explained his mission in the book of Romans, for I am not ashamed of the gospel, because it is the power of God that brings salvation to everyone who believes. Today, our Go Long topic, we are called to make disciples. Throughout the week and during today's show, please text your prayer request to 717-350-8591. And Becky B, as she does every week, will close in prayer for all of us. So thank you so much for being with us. Alrighty, you know it's red hot. Downtown Ollie Brown, grab the mustard, because this is the Grand Salami, a faith-based sports radio show brought to you by Sports Radio 98.9 FM, 1350 WOYK. First in York and first in sports, and our friend Kelsey Jean at Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents. All right, then, you wanted it, you asked for it, guess what? You're going to get it. This is the WOYK scoreboard. Let's kick this off by congratulating the Stoverstown Tigers for winning the York County Championship over the East Prospect Pistons out of the Susquehanna League in 3 games. Game 1 last Saturday, a 12-2 win for Stoverstown. East Prospect went on to win Game 2 then on Saturday, 2-0. And then the final last Sunday. Wow, check this out. High-scoring 18-6 win for the Stoverstown Tigers.
Did they switch to football there or what?
I think sooner or later we just run out pitching, right?
I would think so. Chris Madison led the hit parade on Sunday with his 12th dinger of the season. This one, a bases-loaded grand slam that gave the Tigers a 5-1 lead. In addition to his 12 long balls, Madison sported a .455 batting average for the season.
Yeah, and he had 12 home runs in 20 games. How about that?
That is pretty amazing.
Alrighty.
You know, it's unusual, very unusual for anybody over 400 anymore. You don't see that in the big leagues.
Yeah, and
that's
you know what?
Amazing.
Not to extend this longer than it needs to be, but to hit .455, that means you hit the ball hard probably 3/4 of the time, because, every now and then you hit one right at somebody, too.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So anyway, all right. Hey, the Central League semifinals opened on Saturday, just yesterday. The Final Four featuring the Manchester Indians, the Stoverstown Tigers, the Mechanicsburg Cardinals, and the Mount Wolf Wolves. Manchester worked their way into the semifinals with a best-of-3 sweep, get out the broom, of the Jefferson Titans by scores of 5-1 and 2-1. Good pitching they had. And then Mount Wolf reached the semifinals by knocking off the boys from the Rock, Glen Rock, 6-2 and 4-3. So, add regular season champions and New York County champion Stoverstown and second place Mechanicsburg, and you have a 4-team playoff showdown in the Central League. Stoverstown, the number 1 seed. Mechanicsburg, the number 2 seed. Mount Wolf, 3 seed. And Manchester, the 4 seed. Becky B, tell us all about it.
Okay, here we go. The Manchester Indians opened up their series with a 2-0 blanking of the Stoverstown Tigers in Stoverstown.
Oh.
Well, that's unusual on Stoverstown. On the hill for Manchester was Jordan Nichols. Nichols twirled a complete game gem, allowing just 4 hits as he fanned 9. Manchester hung both of their runs on the board in the 4th, with runs driven in on an Adam Kipp base knock and Kyle Welch sacrifice fly. Joe Yorgel booked 3 of Stoverstown's 4 hits.
So Game 3 of the series is set for 2 p.m. today in Manchester. And in the Mechanicsburg Cardinals, putting on their hitting caps and doubling up the Mount Wolf Wolves 14-7 at Rickenbach Shirley Memorial Field in Mechanicsburg. Hey, the bottom of the 6th, the Tooltown boys up to bat. Caden Shirley with a ding-dong, the witch is dead dinger to put this one in the mayonnaise jar for Mechanicsburg.
For Mechanicsburg, A.J. Wench having a day, going 3 for 5 with 5 ribbies. Wenrich's day at the shop, including a 3-run moonshot in the 2nd. Still for the Tooltime boys, Brandon Coleman'sberger was 3 for 3 with 3 ribbies. Coleman'sberger going yard in the 2nd, and Matt Eaglefritz also ripping 3 hits for his day that included a long ball in the 6th.
For the Mount Wolf Wolves, Steve Pokapek blasted a bases jack grand salami in the 1st. How about this stat of the game? In the day of pitch counts, right, where very few people go over 100 pitches, and certainly in Major League Baseball.
Very few.
For Mechanicsburg, Christian Foltz tossed a complete game for the Tooltime boys with 137 pitches.
Whoa,
how about that?
Strong game of the day.
All right,
yes.
So you know what I had to do.
Of course, you had to research it.
All right. Hey, the most pitches in a Major League Baseball game. Probably this, if you had to pick people, I think a lot of people would go back old time, maybe a Satchel Paige and, some of those kind of guys, Cy Young.
Because then, it was nothing for them to play 3 games a day and to pitch all of them.
All right, but let's go modern day. Let's go modern day history, right? Nolan Ryan on the mound for the Angels, June 14th, 1974.
Now, some people would argue that that's not modern day. It's 50 years ago.
Hold on, It's not that old. Right. Now, the future Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan struck out 19 Red Sox hitters over 13 innings. As the California Angels won 4-3 in 15 innings. That's a big A. Now, you ready for this? Nolan Ryan's, his outing, 235 pitches. How about that?
That's double of what most Major League.
Isn't that great? The second of Nolan Ryan's 19 strikeout performances in 1974 alone. A season he had 367 punch-outs, 16 shy of the all-time record that he set the year before. And guess what?
What?
He finished with a no decision.
Oh, the poor guy. He didn't even get his name in the...
That game went 15 innings. His opponent, a name that many of you will remember, Louis Tiant. How about that?
Oh, I remember that, yes.
Louis Tiant himself went 14 to the 3rd innings before it was a Denny Doyle's walk-off double in the bottom of the 15th that led to the A's win. Nolan Ryan, 1974. Guys, you got to know this, because if you're sitting around the ballpark and all of a sudden that trivia question comes up, hey, they're taking this guy out because he's got 100, you're watching the game. You're always watching the game. It's just pitch count all the time, right?
Yes.
So all of a sudden, let's just say you're watching an Orioles game and they pull somebody because he hit 100 pitches, right? You got to sit there in the stands and you got to pull this card out. You got to say, hey, I remember back in 1974 where Nolan Ryan had 235 pitches. You just need that stuff in your back pocket.
Okay.
It's important to have.
And you probably need to be a senior citizen if you can say, I need to remember this,
All right, well, if you don't have to say you were there. You just got to say, you're a student of the game.
You heard of it. Okay,
There's nothing better than being a student of the game. Right, all right, alrighty.
Now, if you want to go and see a good game today, all right, you can go to Manchester because you're going to see Stoverstown at Manchester at 2 o'clock today, and Mechanicsburg's going to be at Mount Wolf at 2 o'clock as well. So, head on out to the ballpark and see them. Now, let's move on to the Susquehanna League playoffs. On Saturday, the number 3 seed Windsor Cardinals surprised the number 2 seed York Township with a best-of-3 2-game sweep. Yesterday's final, Windsor 13, York Township 2. Windsor also booked the win over York Township on Thursday by a score of 4-0, and the number 5 seeded Conrads surprised the regular season champions East Prospect by sweeping the best-of-3 series with a 2-1 win coming off of Thursday's 7-3 win by the Conrads. So it will be the Windsor Cardinals and the Conrads in the Susquehanna League Playoff Championship.
How about those Conrads, huh?
Hey, how about it?
Alrighty. Hey, what a way to win for the Windsor Cardinals. It was a walk-off Mercy Rule Aunt Nellie Woodshed whooping as Windsor's Zach Geddes at the dish in the bottom of the sixth when Geddes ripped up bases, juiced moonshot and salami for the walk-off. Geddes' day at the plate included going 3 for 4 with 4 ribbies. Cole Doherty also with a 3-run blast in the fifth. Doherty finished with 4 RBIs. Starter Connor Bartow went 5 innings for the W, allowing just 1 earned run on 3 hits while racking up 10 strikeouts.
And how about those Conrads?
How about those Coonrads?
Now winners of 8 straight. The Conrads, who finished the regular season 7.5 games behind regular season champion East Prospect, turned the tables and took them 2 straight, 7-3 on Thursday and 2-1 yesterday, to take the series over the Pistons. For the Conrads, Gavin Constein went long in the bottom of the third. Nolan Balshelf drove in the winning run in the bottom of the fifth, and Cody Wise, in relief of Steve Lehman, worked out of the bases-juiced bottom of the seventh for the win.
Wow. With the bases loaded, way to get out of it, Cody Weiss.
Yep.
For the East Prospect Pistons, Dylan Stoops went the distance, allowing 2 runs on 5 base hits as he whiffed 5 along the way. The Susquehanna League Championship Series between the Windsor Cardinals and the Coonrads will begin Tuesday at Windsor. Remember, if you're playing third base at Windsor, you got to play up a little bit. You got to play up a little bit.
And why do you have to pay up a little bit?
I don't know. 20 years ago, there was a big old rock right around.
Well, maybe they fixed it by now.
I think they probably did fix it by now. Alrighty, Becky B. How about high school golf and fall sports kicking off this week?
Yes, the first official fall event of the York Adams High School season took place on the links at Royal Manchester on Thursday. Ryan Cross of Dallastown had the low score of the day, posting a 68. But the team win was last year's Division I champion, Central York, with a total of 307. Central's Nash Baldorf 71, Dallas Inches 73, Tony Gracie's 81, and Jacob Garrick's 82 were all in the top 8 finishers. So when Central has 4 of the top 8 finishers, they usually win. Dallastown was second with a total of 323. Southwestern was third, led by Ryan Hilliard, who shot a 74, and fourth place went to Northeastern, who were led by Riley Nate Bishop and Logan Christian, both who shot 78s. Division 2 and Division 3 are going to open their season on Monday. York Suburban is the reigning Division 2 champion, while DeLone Catholic is the reigning Division 3 champion.
You know, isn't it hard to believe fall sports kicking off? I know, but almost all the football teams had scrimmages yesterday, and it's here, right?
It is here. Yeah.
And
they only have 1 week of official practicing, and they're already, golf's already logged their first tournament of the season, and then on top of that, you have, like you said, all these scrimmages. It's
here.
Getting busy. It's here. Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but it's getting dark a little earlier. And
I don't even want to hear that.
Hey, congratulations to Jonathan Arbiter for capturing the York City County Men's Open Singles Championship held Wednesday evening at York College. Was a championship. Guess this what? The 104th York City County Tennis Championship. How about that?
That is long going.
It was a repeat for Jonathan Arbiter. And
now,
also,
do you remember when that one started?
I do not. Yeah, I do not. Nolan Ryan had 235 pitch count, though, in 1975. I do remember that.
1974.
74. Well, it is close. Lauren Hayes also won the Women's Open Singles, so congratulations to those in the 104th York County Men's Tennis Championship. That's incredible when you think about that.
Right, and Jonathan won it last year.
He did.
He's a two-peat.
He
Okay.
did. Yep.
Now let's go to American Legion Baseball, and we must give a huge shout-out to the Northeastern American Legion team. They finished second in the Mid-Atlantic Regional Tournament last weekend, and they fall just 1 is the loneliest number short of the American League World Series.
And rolling
That's
off after
amazing.
yeah, it is. After rolling off 3 straight wins to open the tournament, the Nor'easters fell to Wilmington, Delaware last Sunday in the championship game. So, manager Dave Schindler finished their season and the Northeasterns with capturing the York Adams American Legion marbles, the Pennsylvania Region 4 Cat's Eye, and then a second place finish in the Pennsylvania State Legion tournament and a second place finish in the Mid-Atlantic region. Well done to manager Dave Schindler and the Nor'easters. How about that for just a historic run, right?
Absolutely. That's amazing.
And they did. They had, we talked to Coach Schindler a few times over the season. I mean, they had pitching depth. They had the tools.
They had it all. They had
did.
hitters. They had the team chemistry.
They did it.
They
did
all
it.
supported
Well done,
each
Northeastern American Legion Baseball. Congratulations.
The York Revolution offense put on a show on Saturday night in a 13-4 win over the Hagerstown Flying Boxcars, their 11th consecutive win against Hagerstown in front of 4,487 fans at Wellspan Park. David Washington kicked off the Revs hit parade with an opposite field grand slam home run in the bottom of the first. The Revs turned a season-high 4 double plays in the game as they improved to 66 and 33 overall, 33 games above 500 for the first time. Their 23-13 second-half record brings them within half a game of first place. York improved to 14-3 against Hagerstown, 2 wins shy of matching their all-time record for victories against an opponent in a season series.
Incredible. The Revs will go for the sweep this afternoon. The Brooms are in the dugout when Aaron Fletcher takes the hill against Parker Markle. That game at 2 p.m. Promotions today include Sunday Fun Day by Weiss Market's Crab Feast, catered by Captain Bob's Crabs in the Home Run Patio, 800-Minute Reading Club, Mason's Superhero Fun Run, and Superhero Appearances. Ooh, how about that? Presented by York County Veterans Outreach. Get your tickets on sale at YorkRevolution.com or by calling 717-801-HITS, and in person today at Shipley Energy Ticket Office. Of course, if you can't make it today, listen to the best there is. Daryl Henry will have that call as the Revs take on Hagerstown today at 2 o'clock here in York. Beck, just looking ahead not too far, but I do want to just talk a little bit about some of these interesting matchups that are coming up this week in high school football.
Alrighty.
It's just hard to believe. Biggerville is going to host Annville Cleona. The Canners, I think the Canners are looking for a chance to compete in that Division III for some of the top dogs. It's going to be Central York hosting Central Dauphin, the Rams. We'll talk to Coach Janchik in just a little bit, but Central York, I'm telling you, they're not going to be satisfied with a Division I championship and a Final Four finish in District 3 Big Point Pants. I mean, they're looking to go beyond that, right?
Well, your goal should every year to be improving, and that's something that they're going to have to really work hard to improve because they did so well last year too.
Absolutely. You love these cross-town rivalries where Northeastern's going to host Dover, Friday night.
Yeah.
Both these teams are good teams, not great teams. They're good teams. Just a good matchup, Northeastern and Dover, coming up this Friday night.
Battle of the Northern Neighborhood there.
Absolutely. Dallastown looking to improve from last season, and I think they have a good chance to do it. They're going to host Hempfield. That's a good test for them. Hempfield out of the Lancaster-Lebanon League. So a really, really good test. Hanover, the Nighthawks, the Snacktown boys, are going to host the Fawn Grove boys from Hanover. I like that matchup. Kennerdale, I think, has an opportunity to compete for the Division II marbles. They're going to have to They're going to have to leave Snacktown with a win if that wants to happen for the Rams this year. How about the Papertown boys from Spring Grove? They're going to host Northern. I'd call that, a little bit of a rivalry, right? The Pickletown boys coming down to take on the Papertown boys. What do you say, Pickletown or Papertown, Becky?
I like pickles, but I have to go with the Papertown boys.
Alrighty. York Suburban going to host Southwestern in a really interesting cross-division matchup. Suburban looking to win Division II, probably have the tools to do so. The Mustangs wanting to compete for the top of Division I. Always play hard-nosed football, does Southwestern. You got to contain their run if you want to beat them. Is York Suburban better than Southwestern, Becky B? It'll be interesting.
Nope.
No.
Gotta go with the Mustangs on this one.
All righty, in McSherrystown, DeLone Catholic will host an improved Susquehannock team. Susquehannock, I tell you what, they have a little bit of an air attack. DeLone always tough defensively. That'll be an interesting matchup in McSherrystown. York Catholic's going to host Tri-Valley. Columbia is going to host Eastern York. The Bowling Springs Bubblers will host Littlestown. Littlestown looking to repeat again as top of Division III. This is a matchup. This is a tough matchup. When you travel to Bowling Springs, it's going to be an interesting matchup for Littlestown.
Okay, take your word for it.
James Buchanan.
Have I ever been in Boiling Springs?
Yes.
Oh,
you've
yes,
been
I
in
have.
Bubbles.
That's right. Yes.
And you've
Okay.
bubbled while you're there, too.
Oh, stop.
The James Buchanan is going to host York Tech. How about York High going to host Central Dauphin East, CD East? Now, I'm sure they were scouting that scrimmage yesterday with
I
Central
bet
York
they
and
were.
CD East.
Yes.
The Bearcats continue to get better. This is an interesting matchup. If they want to compete with Central Division I, they got to walk. They got to get this win at home. West York's going to host Elko. West York did not win a game last year, which is very unusual. For the Dogtown boys, I think they're going to start out with a big win over Elko. It's going to be their first win in 2 years, right there, Becky B.
Okay.
All right, that game, that game's going to be played Saturday. Redline's going to host Ephrata on Saturday as well. So that's a quick look at some of the games. Fairfield, I should say, is going to host Steel High. Yikes.
I think Steel High might roll over Fairfield.
That's really a tough matchup.
Yes,
all right,
it is.
friends, it's time to go long. As our music ended, it's just appropriate time.
Mm-hmm.
Today, our topic is, we are called, my friends, we are called as Christians to not just be disciples, but to make disciples. And I'm going to first read from the book of Matthew, chapter 28, verse 19 and 20. And then we'll chat a little bit about first of all, what is a disciple? And secondly, how are we going to make disciples? From the book of Matthew, chapter 28. Therefore, go and make disciples of all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. And surely I am always with you to the very end of the age. So, Becky B., we are called to make disciples. What's your thought on that?
Tell us first, what is a disciple?
Well, I think a disciple is a follower of Christ, right? Not only a follower of Christ, a believer, but a doer, somebody who tries to image their life as Christ. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that pretty well sums it up.
Okay.
But when you say the word disciple, that's not a word that we use commonly every day.
True.
So, I think we just had to talk about it a little bit.
And I guess, again, I think the word disciple, in addition to that, right, in addition to a follower and a believer, I think implies action, doing.
Okay.
Right? I mean, it implies doing it. And making others disciples, I think, is part of being a disciple. Right?
Right. And, and in the same word family, disciple, a disciple, a teacher, a leader, implies kind of like a little bit of a discipline, too, where you are following your life in a specific pattern, it's something that's intentional. It's not something that just happens.
Right. So how do we do that? How do we, as Christians, go out and make disciples? Not just be a disciple, but how do we go out and make disciples? Because we are called, as we read here in the book of Matthew, we are called upon to make disciples as well. So I'll take number one.
Okay.
I think, many of us listening to the show are involved in sports in one way or another as coaches and players and parents of others, or just love sports. And I think one way to do it is to be a role model, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's very important. In 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 21, Jesus is just the ultimate example for us. He left you an example that you should follow, is what 1 Peter said. Jesus left the example for us. So we can role model that, right? We can model the best we can just how Jesus lived his life here on earth, and his love for us and compassion for others as an example. And we talk often about letting that light shine for others. I think that's one way to model behavior that not only can we be a disciple, but that we can make disciples. And sometimes that opens up people to even say, you're a little different, right? You just handle yourself a little bit differently.
Right, leading by example kind of thing.
Yep. So Becky, your thoughts. So I got number
Yes.
one. So how can you make disciples? I'm putting you on the spot here.
Alrighty. Well, I think, like you said, leading by example is probably the best way, and just and having others look to you, and I feel sometimes that Christians have just a way of like having a shine to them, or a confidence to them. We're confident so much in God's love and God's care for us and God's grace for us that we maybe don't fret or worry or complain. Well, I don't know about that, but we just know that God will always carry us through, and that God has a plan for our lives. And so with that, we can share our love with others and just carry through with our lives with that kind of confidence of having somebody with our back. So I think showing love, showing grace to people, giving them the benefit of the doubt, lending a hand, that kind of thing is an attribute that we should try to be as disciples, and following God's word and plan for us.
Okay, from the book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 24-25. Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near. From the book of Hebrews, it tells us to encourage one another. How about that? I often tell young people that I work with, young men especially involved in basketball, let's not rip each other apart. There's enough people in the world doing that, right?
Yeah.
Our job is to lift each other up, to encourage one another, to support one another, to care for one another, and yes, to love one another. Let's not be the people who just rip each other apart. So I think we can make disciples, as in the book of Hebrews says, by encouraging, by lifting up one another, right? Especially as you see the day drawing near. And I think that talks a little bit about relationships as well. I think there is, for me anyway, a spirituality about that comes with doing the best I can to treat others, with respect, with regard, with kindness, right?
Absolutely.
Because I think, believe it or not, I think when we treat others respectfully, with kindness, with love, I think we empower them. And especially
they
young
feel
people.
Value as a person, and
right.
That's really.
Yeah. I think we empower them, and we equip them then with the ability to go forward in confidence. And I think that's important, especially for all of us coaches out there, for parents as well. Yes, do we need to discipline, and do we need to correct? And yes, but I think we can do that in a kind and respectful, caring way. So let's read from the book of Matthew, chapter 28 again before we go to break. Therefore go, my friends, go and make disciples of all the nations, and I'll paraphrase of everyone you meet, baptizing them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teach them to obey everything that I have commanded you. And surely I am always with you to the very end of the age. My friends, the good Lord, as we travel throughout our life, is step to step with us, right?
Yep.
And not only are we encouraged to be disciples, but we're encouraged to make disciples. So as you work with your children, or you lead someone as a coaches, or you're a teammate, let's keep in mind, let's be mindful of making disciples of others. How about that, Becky B? Your last words.
Well, it kind of brings into my mind, they'll know we are Christians by our love,
Oh,
that
I like
song.
it. Yeah.
And, if we can walk in love in the way of the Lord, I think that's the best way to develop those relationships.
Okay. My friends, thank you so much for being with us here this Saturday morning, or Sunday morning on Go Long.
It is Sunday today, dear.
My day right. Becky B and I appreciate the time spent with you every Sunday morning, so thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, doggy, dog. We still got two great interviews. Central York's head coach Gary Janchik, and also Dallastown Wildcats head volleyball coach Jackie Stevens. We'll be right back after this short break from our sponsors, Red Barn Home Decors, where staging makes dollars and cents.
Hey WOYK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are homes sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717-818-1207.
Red Barn Home Decors. Staging makes dollars and cents.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Infield creeps in again.
The sounds of summer play here.
It's through! It's a base hit! Stott scores! Marsh being waved home! He's gonna score! And the Phillies have just won it! Trey Turner plays the hero for the Phils.
Catch Phillies baseball right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK, York. Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK is York's only locally owned station and your place for local sports. Join us every Friday night for the high school football game of the week, presented by Wellspan Sports Medicine.
Bueller fakes and he keeps it himself into the open field at the 30, down the left sideline, 10-5, touchdown!
The high school football game of the week, brought to you by Wellspan Sports Medicine, right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
This is Merrill Reese.
He's at the 5. He's in. Touchdown. The Eagles win. Hurts does it again.
Oh, my God.
Hurts does it again.
Are you kidding me?
Join Mike Quick and me for Eagles football on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
Presented by Wellspan Health.
And the kick is...
Goal! And the Eagles win. First in York. First in sports.
And welcome back to Go Long. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. You know, in girls volleyball last year in the York Adams League, the Dallastown Wildcats took it all. The Wild Things just, you hate to say dominant, but they surely were the class of York Adams when it talks about girls volleyball.
They certainly were. You know, they didn't have any weak areas on the team. They just had a solid performance. Now they have lost 3 seniors from last year, but reloaded and ready to go.
All right, so it's great to talk with their head coach, Jackie Stevens.
Welcome, Jackie, to Go Long.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning, Jackie. First of all, repeating as the York Adams Girls Volleyball Championship, tell us about your team this year.
Sure. So our team, I'm very excited about this season. You know, every year it's a new team, and we graduated 3 seniors last year, which for some teams might not sound like a lot, but those 3 seniors played a significant role in our success. So we certainly will miss them and thank them for all that they did for the program. But I'm super excited about the team coming in this year. We've got a lot of returning folks, along with a couple new underclassmen. So I think it's going to be a great season.
All right, Jackie, tell us a little bit about some of your team leaders. How are these, what had been underclassmen, stepping up now to be leaders for Dallastown?
Right. So, we have a varsity squad of 12, and then a couple of our JV kids are actually going to float and spend a little bit of time with us too. So we've got a lot of depth on the team. Returning starters for us, Kira Lynch, who, she is a senior middle hitter, and she really kind of led the way for us offensively last year. So she is back. We're excited about that. Belle Criswell is our setter. We ran a 5-1 last year with Belle. She is a junior, and she does some really good things, makes good decisions, is a good physical player. So that's exciting. Let's see. We also have Jocelyn Markle, was one of our outside hitters last year. She actually previously had been a libero, so last year was the first year she hit outside. So she'll be returning. She's a senior. And then we have a host of other folks who played quite a bit as well. Vivian Ruth and Miley Schwartz. Vivian is a senior. She played middle for us, also played a little bit right side on occasion. Miley played middle for us last year, and he is a junior this year, so I think he's going to have a lot of contribution as well. So, with starters that are coming back, and then other kids who are seniors this year, Reese Jackson, Lakin Wise, they both played a little bit last year. I see them as having probably bigger roles this year than they did last year. So I'm super excited, and then we've got some youngsters coming in, so I think it'll be a good balance. But we do have 7 seniors this year on the team.
So Coach, when you talk about girls volleyball, certainly the York Adams League, tremendous history of great girls volleyball. This year, I think, is probably no different. Southwestern, Central York, just to name a couple of, teams that you got to expect to have tremendous teams again this year.
And you can't count out Spring Grove either.
True.
Right.
Well, as an alumni, I certainly can't count out Spring Grove. Never. That's one of the great things about this league. I think that there is a lot of long-standing history and schools that have been performing at really high levels for a long time. So the better the competition you see all year long, the better your team can get. So, Central, Spring Grove, certainly there's so many teams that you just can't count out in anything that happens. Southwest has a lot of starters returning. Red Lion may not have had the greatest record last year, but they were competitive with a lot of teams. So I think the league will continue to be consistent at a pretty high level.
Tell us a little bit about, you're 1 week into a daily practice routine. What's the feeling? What's the momentum that you're trying to achieve at this point as you prepare for the full season?
I think the biggest thing is making sure, kind of as a team, that we are clear on our goals and that we are clear on what it's going to take for us to achieve those goals. And right now, so Jocelyn Markle, who I mentioned earlier, she has a stress fracture in her foot, so she hasn't played it all yet this week. Kind of, which in some ways is good because you get to see all the depth you have in the team, because people get to play in different positions and those kinds of things. So that's been an opportunity for us. And really just kind of making sure that we take advantage of every opportunity that we have. Scrimmages are really important, so you get to see, here are the things that we've been doing in practice all week. What does that look like then when you go and compete? And that's always kind of a critical part to planning out the rest of the season.
Now, when you're looking at your team as a whole, here early in the season, what are some of the strategies you have to build that team concept?
Gosh, I don't know. Should I give away those secrets?
Yes, I need them.
I'm just kidding. There's no secret. I think it doesn't matter the sport, because all sports, obviously involve a certain level of teamwork. But for me, it's really about making sure that the kids are aligned with where we're going, and making sure that everybody really understands, here's the role that I see them playing. I think that, making sure that the expectations that kids have and the expectations that coaches have and parents are really kind of aligned, and we stay open in those communications. I think a lot of times team dynamics get impacted negatively when those lines of communication aren't open, and either kids or coaches or parents have visions or thoughts about what things should look like, and not everybody's on board. So that's really an important part of what we're doing, especially early in the season.
We're speaking with Jackie Stevens, head girls volleyball coach at Dallastown. Jackie, we celebrate you. You're a tremendous coach. You're a tremendous leader of young people, and just represent the York Adams League in Dallastown and your family in just a tremendous way. So we appreciate all you do. Your final words for our listeners today, Jackie.
Well, I thank you so much for that. I appreciate those kind words. And what I would say is that, York County women's and men's volleyball has such a deep history and tradition. And there have been a lot of amazing coaches along the way that I have had the pleasure of learning from. And I am hopeful that there are amazing coaches coming behind to continue, especially for women's volleyball, having young female athletes come up and have an interest in coaching, I think is exciting, because it is such a joy, it is such a reward, and I am very excited about our season. I'm excited about the future of York County volleyball, and obviously super excited about the future of Dallastown volleyball. So thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the conversation.
Well, best of luck this season, and we'll be watching those Wildcats.
Thanks so much.
Jackie Stevens, Dallastown. The Wild Things, I think they're looking to repeat, Becky B, and I think many people would probably pick them also for that opportunity to repeat.
Well, but as Coach Stevens said, there are a lot of people who are standing in the sidelines of trying to knock on that door and to knock them off. Last year Spring Grove had a great run into the district playoffs, did very well. They have many of their players back. They are doing, I know a lot of building. You can't ever count out Central York in Division I either. It's just one of those standings. I have to tell you, though, I think I probably will pick Dallastown as repeating league champions. But, there's a lot of people who have been working really hard off season. Southwestern's building program as well.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It'll be interesting to see where things lie.
All right, you guys. We're going to take a quick break. We hear from our sponsors, Red Barn Home Decor, where home staging makes dollars and cents. We'll be right back with more of Go Long right after this.
Hey, WOIK listeners, Daryl Henry here with Kelsey McCullough, Kylie Taylor, the owners of Red Barn Home Decors. Kelsey, tell us a little bit about what you guys are doing.
So Kylie and I bring in our furniture and decor to either a vacant or occupied home, and we allow buyers to create emotional connections with the home by envisioning their family in that space. Doing that allows the buyer to get top dollar for their listing and also sell it in the fastest amount of time.
Kylie, tell us about the benefits of Red Barn in particular.
Home staging is very important in the selling process. It really makes sure that your home sells in the quickest amount of time and for the top dollar. Some of our statistics here are home sell in an average of 4.5 days and for over 16,000 over asking.
Kelsey, how would folks get in touch with Red Barn?
Please feel free to check out our portfolio at www.redbarnhomedecors.com. You can also check out our social media pages at Red Barn Home Decors or give us a call at 717-818-1207.
Red Barn Home Decors. Staging makes dollars and cents.
This is Merrill Reese. He fires into the end zone, and it is caught! Touchdown! Catch the Eagles all season right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK.
He's back. Reddick's got him again! Another sack for Reddick down to the 10-yard line.
Philadelphia Eagles football, presented by Wellspan Health.
Cuts back. He's in. Touchdown! DeAndre Swift.
First in York, first in sports.
Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK is York's only locally owned station and your place for local sports. Join us every Friday night for the high school football game of the week, presented by Wellspan Sports Medicine.
Bueller fakes and he keeps it himself into the open field at the 30, down the left sideline, 10-5, touchdown!
The high school football game of the week, brought to you by Wellspan Sports Medicine, right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. First in York, first in sports.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Infield creeps in again.
The sounds of summer play here.
It's through. It's a base hit. Stott scores. Marsh being waved home. He's going to score. And the Phillies have just won it. Trey Turner plays the hero for the Phils.
Catch Phillies baseball right here on Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK, York.
And welcome back to Go Long. I'm Wayne McCullough. With me is Becky B. Becky B, we're trying to get Coach Janchik with us here on the phone, but I know he had a late scrimmage last night, so we'll see if we can still get him. But thank you for hanging in. We don't get him today, we'll get him here soon.
Well, that's all right. That gives us the perfect opportunity to kind of look ahead at some of these sports, look at where they ended up last year, and kind of talk a little bit about where we think they may.
All right. Well, before we do that, let's kind of look back.
Okay.
Then we'll look ahead, but let's look back at some of the highlights from the summertime, right? Because next week summer's done. Other than we'll talk Tom Kerrigan Memorial Baseball Tournament coming up with several from the Central League and Susquehanna League participating. Teams from all over the country coming in over Labor Day weekend, right?
Absolutely.
For that annual tournament.
Yes.
But before we do that, let's look back. Because we're turning the page next week. It'll be high school football games galore and other fall sports galore. But let's look back real quick. Highlights from this summer. I got to say, in my opinion, the highlight had to be Northeastern American Legion Baseball, right?
Absolutely. You know, talking to their coaches, talking to some of the young men. Quinn Schindler, we talked to a pitcher and a senior. Yes. And, you know, they just... They just knew the word of team. You know, they acted as a team on and off the field. They did things. They were, as Quinn I think said, brothers on and off the field. Yep. Yes, that was definitely one of the highlights. I think too.
Absolutely. If you actually, I want to direct you. If you have time, go to the Northeastern American Legion. It's American. It's on Facebook, but it's the Northeastern Senior and Junior American Legion baseball website. And here's why. They're one of the few teams that actually are not sponsored fully by an American Legion. So they are actually seeking donations. So if you want to throw a buck or two in the hat through that website, I encourage you to do so. I'm sure they had tremendous expenses traveling to the Pennsylvania tournament and the Mid-Atlantic tournament. But anyway, one of the highlights of the summer is Northeastern American Legion baseball. For me, you know, being a former player in the Central League, from the Central League standpoint, I think the fact that Mount Wolf came back as champions of the regular season in the Central League over an incredible Mechanicsburg team, but Mount Wolf,
I thought it was
Stoverstown. I'm sorry,
yes.
Stoverstown winning I'm thinking Stoverstown, saying Mount Wolf, but Stoverstown. Okay. Stoverstown just got hot at the right time, sticking runs on the board incredibly. So Stoverstown winning that regular season when they were a few games back, not far into that thing, over Mechanicsburg, also an incredible team. It was just fun to watch the Stoverstown come back and win that thing.
Right, and you know, York County just has such a strong history of town team baseball.
Yeah.
And just seeing the pride of you know, and every year kind of those across-town rivalries that come up with it, but that the respect that they have for each other as well.
And then, you know, we can go on and on and on, but even as late as the spring sports, the All-State softball players, Becky B., that I know you had a chance to talk to and watch play several times.
Yes, Southwestern had one of those dream seasons, and along with that, they ended up having 2 All-State players. Kinsley Proper, who had been All-State at third base, and then moved to catcher, and she was the All-State catcher. And then Jada Kuntz joined her as well as the pitcher. And Kinsley's going to be going on to play at East Stroudsburg, where Jada will be back with the Mustangs. She will be a rising senior this year. Just 2 amazing girls, academically, on and off the field. They're just amazing.
Yeah, and tremendous efforts in the baseball field too. Manny Cartagena from Susquehannock, the catcher, was incredible season, All-State.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
Connor Lawrence, just tremendous young men also, not only in talking with them, as we did, as you would expect here on Go Long, not only great baseball players, but just wonderful young men, right?
Right, and Aiden Whitmer from
Sure.
DeLone Catholic as well joined that list.
Yeah. And we had a chance to talk to all of them, right?
We did have a chance to talk to all of
Get
them.
here first on Go Long, right? All right,
Yes,
now.
okay. All right.
Thanks for looking back, but let's look forward here a little bit.
Okay. Well, we talked a little bit about football already and about some of the things that may be happening in football. So let's take a look at some of the sports that maybe don't get as much publicity, but that we have young student athletes that are working hard day in and day out. Let's take a look. Start at field hockey.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Do it.
Okay. In
Field hockey.
Field hockey. Yes, in Division 1, Red Lion was the champion last year. They had a 9-1 record. New Oxford at 7-3. Red Lion went on then, but did not win the championship. In Division 2, Susquehannock just had a stellar season. They were 11-0 for the season, where York Suburban was just one back, 10-1. Biglerville in Division 3 and Littlestown in Division 3 tied for the league championship there.
Girls from the Apple Capital of the
Apple
world.
Capital of the world. Now, in the tournament, though, when we went to the YAIA tournament, the championship, New Oxford ended up winning the tournament. They beat Susquehannock 4-3. That was kind of an upset for that. Alrighty, looking ahead then also.
Hold on now, we do have Coach Janchik.
Coach Janchik's here. Okay, well let's talk to Coach Janchik. Okay.
Coach, thanks for calling. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
Doing wonderful. First of all, thank you so much for reaching out to us. We've been promising people we're going to get you, and you did it for us. First of all, Coach, a scrimmage yesterday, a big one. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I was real pleased yesterday because I know CD East returns a great deal of talent. They have a tailback that's going to the University of Delaware. They have a linebacker, I believe he's a Big Ten recruit. So we didn't know for sure we'd get very athletic space. They won the Penn State 7-on-7 tournament, and I was real pleased with how we moved the ball, and more in particular, pleased with our defense. It's the fastest defense I've ever had the pleasure of being around in terms of a team that I had coached, and I think that's where it all starts with us because our guys can run to the ball.
Coach, I think it's fair to say that you're going to have a little bit of a target on your back, right? As you especially get through the York Adams League and, with a Final Four finish in the Big Boy Pants 6A bracket in District 3 last year. What are the goals for this team? I mean, are they as good? Can they repeat? What kind of goals have the coaching staff set, and what kind of goals have the players set for this group?
It may sound weird, and this isn't arrogance at all. I'm not an arrogant person or a cocky person because I don't believe in that. I truly believe our football team is much more talented than last year's. And that's saying something because they were 11-0 until we got knocked off by Harrisburg. That doesn't mean our record will be as good because, the league we play in, we have Central Dauphin, and then we play Manheim Township, who's, Mark Evans is my close friend, and Mark returns every offensive starting lineman. That's hard to ever. He never had that before in his career, and he won a national championship at the U playing offensive guard. So Mark understands how important that is. And then our league with Southwestern and Dallastown. Dallastown has 3 Division I guys at the skill positions between a tight end going to Towson, the one wide receiver, going to Arizona State, and the other one being a 1A kid. So that's no joke, in terms of those guys. And then we have Archbishop Hoban, who's the preseason ranked #1 team in the state of Ohio. So you can tells you how smart I am scheduling them. And it wasn't because I wanted to schedule someone we could or couldn't beat. We had no game week 9. And then in the District 3 6A playoffs, everyone gets week 11 as a bye. So we couldn't go week 9 bye, week 10 York, week 11 bye.
Right.
There's nobody in the country, high school or college, that wants 2 buys in 3 weeks. So we added them. So my point is, I think we're more athletic. I think our skill position guys are going to surprise people, even though we lost a great one in Joel's Goff to the Pitt Panthers. We have a tandem of running backs, actually 4, that are really, really special. And then our quarterback, Brooklyn Nace, I believe will be a Division 1A quarterback. I think he's very talented and gifted.
Well, I know I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but to beat a Central Dauphin team, they're always big up front, both sides of the ball. You're going to have to find a way, to run the ball a little bit against probably, one of the best defensive lines, biggest defensive lines you might face all season. Can you give us a little bit of what we have to see on that game?
No question, you nailed it. They are big and physical up front. And you can't just there and say, well, we're gonna run the ball past them because we're a little quicker. No, because you don't make that block up front, and it doesn't matter how fast your back is. So what we'll have to do with them is, we got to play smart football. We're gonna have to try to wear them down. Our tempo is a big thing with what we do. We play with a fast tempo on offense, and that's something that our guys have bought into, and particularly this year. But to try to slug it out with them, no, that would be, that's going to get you a loss quicker than anything. Right. So we just have to be smart and spread it out. It's like a boxing match. What are you going to do? Get them inside, outside, and try to keep them off balance.
Well, Coach, you definitely have the physical things that you need to do to be a winning team. Tell me what you do to create that mental part of the game with your young men.
We work on it year-round, honestly, because we talk about really what you're in high school football for, and we really mean this, like the character issues, developing great character as a young person, and then the belief factor, the belief that what you're doing, the time and effort that you put in will pay off. And I'm very proud of that. If one of the officials came up yesterday, I thought one of my guys had an equipment issue. I thought his knee pads were up too high, or there's going to be an issue. He goes, "Coach, I talked to you." I said, "Oh boy." I said, who's not properly prepared on the field? But what his point was, he said, "Coach, your guys year in and year out." He goes, "What impresses me is their understanding of it. They're ready to go. Like they know it's their turn." So I guess it kind of answers your question. Like they work really hard on getting that opportunity, and then they don't want to not make the most of it. So it's a belief that when they do take the field, it's not a belief that they're going to win, but it's a belief that they're going to be successful, they're going to be prepared and ready to go. And then if they get beat by a superior opponent, then they do.
Alrighty. Coach Janczyk, thank you so much. We look forward to following you. We're going to get you on midway through the season just to get a checkup on these on this Central York team. You're going to have a great run. There's no doubt about it. I know you got a tremendously tough schedule as well, but thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us on Go Long.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Alrighty. Coach Janczyk, it was nice to chat with him. The Panthers are good. They're deep. They're good.
Yep, they're going to have another year.
Alrighty. Becky B., can you close in prayer for us, please?
Absolutely. Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this time together, and we thank you and praise you for the many blessings you've given us. Lord, as we approach this fall season, please be with all of the people who are involved in sports in the York Adams area, and please be with them as they go into their fields or playing areas. Please help them to be disciples for you, Lord, and to lead them in the way that they shall go. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that all of our listeners today, first of all, we want to let you know how much we appreciate you being with us, but let's take heed and make disciples of others as we go throughout our day and throughout our week, especially if you're engaged with young people in the wonderful game of sports. It was fun to talk to Coach Stevens from Dallastown Girls Volleyball, Tremendous coach, great leader. The Wild Things are good in girls volleyball. It'll be fun to watch them. I think they have that target on their back too, right?
Absolutely.
And also Coach Janchik. We had trouble getting him right away, but we got him, right?
But, and both of those coaches know that, sports at this level are, it's important to win, but they're developing young men and young women, and they're doing it in the right way.
Well, if you want to, both of them are champions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you can have all the talent in the world, and as you know, if without doing exactly how you described it, Becky, you're developed in both ways, you're not going to be a champion, and they are champions. Mm-hmm. All righty, my friends, the grace of the Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with you all. Thank you to Kelsey Jean from Red Barn Home Decors, where home staging makes dollars and cents, for Sports Radio 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK. This is Wayne McCullough and Becky B saying, go long.